Welcome to our podcast.
Hey, everybody. This is our Fearless Power podcast. I'm Darlene.
I'm Luana.
We're really excited. I mean, how long have we been doing this for?
It's been like 3 months that we've been trying to get together and do this.
Yes, finally happening.
It was like November when we tried to get together and we just couldn't get together with our schedules.
No.
Yeah.
And this is a long time planning, and here we are. We're really excited to expose.
I think exciting. We're gonna keep saying excited all day today.
We are
so excited.
We're gonna expose all of our info to everybody throughout this podcast.
Yes.
Luana, you want to give a little backdrop on what our podcast is about?
Yes, but you have to finish.
Okay.
We're in this together now. I feel like I've been doing hair for almost 10 years now, and I have so much to say, and now I own like a salon and I have a full team, and I'm always teaching, and I have so many ideas and things and just life experience in the business that I just want to be able to share.
Yeah.
And like help other people, help stylists, and not just people in the beauty industry, but women in general. Like people that are out there trying to like make a living and be someone out there.
Yeah, this is business, this is stylist, this is hair, this is not hair. Like we're really just trying to hit all areas because we have so much knowledge to give.
Yeah. Do you think you're gonna cry?
I don't know. I might at one point.
I don't know. I feel like I might like have an episode. I might have like a whole
If I start
meltdown.
to cry, I might just sip
Drink.
on my coffee.
Well, I feel like the first time we met was back in early summer of 2023.
Yeah.
And I was picking up my paycheck from your husband.
Yeah.
Right? And we met for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then
you taught the classic gang gang.
Yeah. I taught a classic gang gang. You own how many salons now?
8.
8?
Yeah.
She says, I don't know how she does it.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it.
But it's 1 or 8, it's still the same.
Yeah.
You just got to spread yourself out.
It's like they say, have one kid, have 2. After that, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. You just have to apply what you apply in one location to all locations.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing.
it's the same thing, and you have to have the right people there helping you out.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
So let's talk a little bit.
Yeah.
We know each other.
Yeah.
We know each other, but we're gonna get to know each other a little bit better on this, which is why we might tear up at some point. But I have a question for you.
Okay.
And I think it's really cool for you to talk about this for everyone to hear.
Okay. Oh my God, here we go. No drama in this podcast.
No drama. This is all positive
Just joking.
stuff. So my question to you is, when did you come here and why did you come here?
Like the America?
Country. Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought this was really interesting, so I want you to let everybody else know too.
Yes. So I moved to America when I was 14. I had like 0 English. My brother was actually sick at that time in Brazil. He got diagnosed with like an immune disease, and the doctors in Brazil didn't know what to do anymore for him. So they said that your only other chance of living and surviving is if you go into New York City. So my mom packed up her bags and she came to America. I stayed with my dad for a little bit, for a few years, and it was a little rough because I was very attached to my mom. And I used to literally sleep in her room.
Your dad lived here already?
No, my dad was in Brazil.
Okay.
My mom literally picked up her bags with my brother and moved to America. Like in New York City, not knowing anything, no English, like nothing. And at that time, he was really, really sick. So he was almost at the point to like be on a wheelchair because he couldn't walk because his joints were like super inflamed. So my mom left. She was here for about a year. And I would come visit, like I did like a Christmas visit. I remember it was like for 4 nights, and I saw snow for the first time. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I wanted to eat.
Does it snow in
I wanted
Brazil?
to eat the snow. Does it snow in Brazil? And I remember I just remember like the outfits. Like she got me in this animal print, long jacket, like
Ready for New York?
dressy jacket, right? And I was with her for like about 4 days, and then I went home, and I was like that early teenage years, I was like needing my mom.
You need your mom.
I needed my mom. So my mom ended up meeting my stepdad. He was from Essex County in Livingston. Yeah. And they dated for about 2 years in New York. And then my brother, his treatment actually started to work. And she was dating him. And then my, stepdad said, hey, move in, let's get married. Then my mom went to Brazil, tried to pick me up and say, hey, we're going to America. We're going to live here. And I said, no. Not going. I'm not leaving. I like where I live. I like my friends. At that point, I was like 13.
Yeah.
So,
and you already lived there for how long without your mom?
I was like 2-3 years without my mom. So, but I was still really struggling with like not having my mom and my brother and all that. So, come from a divorced family. So like I was with her full time. My dad would like come visit me like one day a week,
so
like
the
and buy me a toy. I didn't have that
much.
relationship with my dad. So my mom is like, come to America, just come for a year. And I'm like, no way, I'm not doing this. I'm not moving. I speak no English. I don't know what's going to happen.
That's the other thing. You're coming somewhere where you don't even speak the language.
Nothing. And I was happy there, like with friends, but not with like in the family home. Like, you know, so long story short, the day that she was supposed to leave, I called her and say, cancel your plane, I'm going. So, and then she canceled her plane. She goes, okay. She got all my school situation together. I packed a bag within like 2 weeks. I came to Livingston. Yeah. And that's where I started like my middle school. Graduated from Hanover Park in East Hanover. And and
I have a question.
I'm here.
How hard was it for you to learn English at that age?
It wasn't like how hard it was. It was how, because at that time, your hormones, you're so worried about what everybody's thinking about you that I didn't know what anybody was saying. Like I was sitting next to someone, I don't know what they were saying to me. I had one friend that was Portuguese and I only had lunch with her. So I like the whole entire day I'm like walking in the hallway. They could have totally been making fun of me. Yeah. But I didn't know.
You had no clue.
But I have to say the first week that I started school, it was 9/11. So I got pulled out. My stepdad was the first one to pull me out of, like, 9/11 was blowing up. And I got picked up. I'm like, what is going on? People are just dragging me to the front main office. I'm like, I don't know what they're saying.
This is your intro to America.
Yeah, that was my welcome to America. And then, you know, and then the following week, I was going to a football game with American people, and I was like, okay, I'm going. I don't know if I'm going to make it home, but I'm going to go.
Yeah, we're going to figure this out.
And we'll figure it out. Yeah. And we'll figure it out. And then slowly I was able to like...
You have to push yourself out of your comfort zone.
You got to push yourself out
of
your comfort zone.
And it's impressive that at 14 years old, correct?
Yeah.
That you were able to switch your whole cultural environment, everything. I'm sure it was a huge culture shock.
Oh, huge.
And you were able to learn English at that age, where most of the time
Still
they
working
said...
on it. No judgment in this podcast.
No, you're really good. But most of the time they say you have to start younger because you're like a sponge and you'll be able to pick up any language at that point.
Absolutely.
And you were able to do it at an older age, which is...
It was rough, but it worked out.
Yeah.
It all worked out.
Yeah.
So I feel like you asked me a question. I'm going to ask you a question. Okay. I'm going to go up this
Let's
way.
go.
Which one I'm going to pick? Okay, so I've been really interested on this one. How many tattoos do you have? Because I feel like you're covered. If you guys don't know her, she's covered. And if you had to pick your favorite tattoo, can you pick one?
Okay. So I have no idea how many tattoos I have.
Okay. What do you mean?
I have no idea.
Okay, fine.
I feel like after a certain point, you stop counting.
Okay.
But I have 2 sleeves. I have my legs started.
Okay.
I have my husband's lips on my butt.
Wait, how did that happen? You put a red lipstick on and you went to the tattoo guy?
I made him, and at the time, he had really long hair.
Yeah.
When I met
Phil
him.
with hair?
He
I don't even know Phil with hair.
He used to braid it. I used to blow dry it when we would go out to dinner. Like, it was so funny. And we were at his tattoo shop, and at that time, I was like, I want a lip tattoo on my butt. I don't know why. I was young.
Wait, I have a heart in my butt. I have a heart in my butt. I had it last year. High five to butt tattoos.
And I was like, you know what? You have really good lips. I don't even think we were like officially dating yet. Yeah. I'm like, you have really good lips. I'm going to put lipstick on you, kiss a piece of paper. Yeah. He did it. Okay. And I also was taking pictures of him with long hair and lipstick on because I was like, this is, I need to keep this in my back pocket in case I need it. But my favorite tattoo, I have my kids' names. I feel like that's really sentimental to me. Okay. But I feel like also as you like your first tattoo is you think about it. Right. You want to have some sentimental value behind it. And after that, maybe the next few have some sentimental value. Yeah. You think about them a little bit. After that, you're just going. Pick a style of what you want. So I picked traditional. Yeah. And then from there, you basically just pick what you like. Okay. So it's more of like the style that I like rather than like it having sentimental value now.
I really thought that you took Phil to the tattoo shop and he kissed her butt right there and then that
would
got
have
a
been
tattoo
even better.
on it. That's what I envisioned when you said that about a lip on your butt.
But I love that we both have butt tattoos. It really solidifies this friendship.
Yeah.
But, you know, and also like my husband having, and now both of us having a tattoo shop, it really makes it easy to get tattooed whenever you want, which is how my journey of continuing to get sleeves and things like that started. It was just so convenient.
Got it.
And once it was convenient, I was like, perfect. And my family didn't love it in the beginning.
Right.
But then after a while, like my mom's like, it makes you who you are.
Oh.
Like it took
and you're
me
like,
like
how old did I turn until you said that?
Before it was like, you have a tattoo on your hand.
Yeah.
Like, what about when you get married? Your wedding pictures, you're going to have tattoos showing. But it did. It made me who I was.
Yeah.
So,
and amazing.
Yeah.
As long as you're happy. That's all that matters.
Exactly.
Amazing.
How did you get into the hair industry? You know, I never really asked you that before, so I thought that would be really good to expose out to everybody and kind of give everyone an idea.
So, I changed majors so many times. It's actually embarrassing. I think so going to like Livingston High School or Hanover Park, every kid was going to a 4-year degree. For a 4-year, like they were going away.
Yeah.
Okay. So like me coming in as 14, like of course my levels were not going to be the same. Like my SAT score, I can't even tell you what the score was. Yeah. I mean, there's no even point. It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
But I was under the pressure to go to school and like graduate and get my bachelor degrees. And like in the Brazilian culture, you need to be a doctor, a lawyer, or like some type of title to be able to become successful, right? And I always had like, I'm gonna be a lawyer, I'm gonna be a doctor, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And when it came down to college, I ended up going to CCM.
Yeah.
I started off, I wanted to be a cop. So I went to school for criminal justice. And I loved all the subjects, but it wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
So, and then I ended up in the middle of going on my first year in college, my husband, now Damien, asked me to marry him. And we were dating for 4.5 years. But the reason
it was about time.
But I was 17 when we met. So at that point, I think I was 20. Okay?
Yeah.
I was 20. I got married when I was 21. And he said, hey, I got this job promotion to go to Canada. And I want to take you. So coming from a Brazilian background, my mom was like, hell no. You're not going to go out there, like adventure with the boy, and then he's just going to drop you off with your suitcase when he's done with you. So he turned around and he's like, then I'm going to marry her. And then my mom was like, well, maybe she can go for a week and this and that. He's like, no, we're going to get married. So he proposed. He proposed. Within 3 months, we got married. So at that time with college, I had to stop going to college for criminal justice because I was moving to Canada, Vancouver. Yeah. And then when I went there, I took a few classes for business. Yeah. And I'm like, not loving it. I was there for a year and then we moved back. And then I did another semester in business here. And I'm like, this is not for me. Then I switched out to hospitality management. And I'm like, this is not going to be it for me either. Like, I'm like, this is just figuring it out. Yeah. So, and then I called my whole family. Like, at that point, my husband was paying for my college. My parents weren't paying it anymore. And I said, I need to take a break. Like, because, like, I don't know what I want to do. I'm just wasting money. I'm, like, spending, like, hours in school. And every time I look at a professor, I'm like, I want to walk out. I want to walk out.
Even now, people go through that.
It's really hard to figure out what you want to be for the rest of your life, you know?
Yeah, it's a huge decision.
So college wasn't for me. So I remember watching, I think I was watching Guy Tang at 11:30 at night on YouTube, okay? No, I was watching Tabitha Takes Over. That's what I was watching.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh my God, I can totally do hair. I can totally do this. And I signed up for beauty school. Like that month, I signed up for beauty school.
Thank you, Tabitha.
Thank you, Tabitha, for that. And that's where my journey started. I was 24. I was 24 when I started the beauty school. Yeah. And then I was already married with 1 kid.
Did you already have like an artistic ability
that kind of
led you to that?
Not that I knew of. I mean, I used to like do my hair, like things like that. Like, but I never liked school. Like school wasn't for me. So no matter what class I took, I just wanted to get out of it.
Yeah, you just felt like it was the same thing from when you were younger.
I was thinking of boys for the whole time. Like I just wanted to get out and like go see my boyfriend or something. Like that was me.
Same.
I was that girl.
Same.
All right, I have another question for you.
Let's hear it. I'm ready. She's gonna pick a juicy one.
So I know how you and Felipe met, okay?
Yeah.
But when did you know he was the one? Like, and what stage in your relationship? Was it in the beginning? Was it like after you went through a hard time with it? Like, when did you know he was the one?
So...
And actually give everybody a little background, like how long you guys been together and...
so we've been together now for 12 years.
Okay.
We met in recovery. That's how we met. We are 11 years apart.
Okay.
And I didn't know that when I met him. But the funny thing is, we met at a meeting, at a Narcotics Anonymous meeting. And he kept asking me for my number, and I had just came in, and I was like a scared...
He had long hair at that time.
Long hair.
Oh, boy.
Cornrows.
Oh, boy. I'm like,
like,
bye.
who is this guy? And he kept asking me for my number, but I was like a scared, timid, like, didn't know what was going on right now with my life.
Right.
So I was just like, I don't have a phone. Like, I would just keep pushing it off and pushing it off. And finally, like, one of our friends in the group was like, oh, let's all go out to dinner. And we went out, and we ended up actually hanging out with like a group of people. And I thought he was really cool. So then when he finally asked me out to dinner, I finally said yes.
Okay.
And I'm happy that I did, because ever since that moment, we hung out all the time after that. It was like I needed that, but I was in a relationship while I was using, and I was in a relationship for years, so I had just gotten out of it, and I was like, I need to focus on me. Like, that was my main thing. So transitioning now, I knew he was the one when we initially met, he had a son too.
Okay.
And I actually fell in love with his son, like probably before I fell in love with him.
Okay.
At the time, he was
How
Damien.
old was Damien?
He was like,
which, by the way, we both have Damiens, which
Here's
is
the
so
other
weird.
thing that solidifies our friendship. So at the time, he was 6 months old when I met him.
Yeah.
He was still a baby, and he was beautiful, and he had these big, bright blue eyes and curly hair, and the mom wasn't in the picture, and not that that mattered, and I wasn't really looking at the time to be like somebody's mom,
Right.
but I was...
Wait, how old were you, if you don't mind me asking?
At
like
that
when you were
time,
going through
I was
all that?
probably like 23 years old.
Okay.
So, of course, in my head, I wasn't like, oh my God, I need to mother this child.
Right.
But I also went through addiction, and I know what it was like for the mom that's still out there and everything. And I had a soft spot for this kid that didn't have a mom in his life.
Okay.
So I was like, if I could give him love, that's all he needs. Like, he just needs love from a male and a female, you know? So as we continued our relationship, I really built a bond with Damien, and you know, I'm all he knows in his life now, even to this day. Now I'm mom. Okay. I'm not his biological mom, but I'm mom, and like, I wouldn't have it any other way. I truly feel like Phil and him helped me to really change my life. But I will say, no one can help you change your life.
Right. You
have to want to do it for yourself. Right. It's like God, and if somebody doesn't believe in that, that's fine. But it's like universe, whatever, something bigger than me, myself, and then everybody else, right? Yeah. So once I made the decision to stay clean, and once I made this decision to better my life, those were just added blessings in my life. Okay. And they did help me to want to stay on the right path. I will say, I knew after hanging out with Phil and then meeting Damien, I want to say a few months, I knew that like there was something in Phil that I saw that was so good. And at the time, he was so wild because he just got clean too. We weren't the people that we were today. Yeah. He was always going out and staying up late, and was in a bike club, and like it was like insane. It makes sense.
You know? All the character makes sense.
All the character makes sense. Yeah. It was insane. And you know, I wrote it out for a while because I saw something so good in him. And that good unfolded like over time, and even for me. And we did break up a few times because I didn't stay clean the first time that I got clean. I was young. I was 23 years old. All my friends were still going out. I'm like, why can't I just drink? Like,
so if you don't mind me asking, how long were you clean, and then when did you relapse?
I was probably clean like a year, and I relapsed. And it was more because I wanted to go out and drink. I thought that I could drink. Okay. And I couldn't. Okay. I found that out really fast. and I found it out the hard way, and I went right back. And after that, Phil broke up with me. I moved out of the apartment. I needed that tough love. To really get my act together. When you guys
were living together.
We were living together.
Yeah.
And once I had that tough love, it took a couple months, but I ended up putting myself into a rehab, and that's when it actually truly meant something to me, because they always say you need to have the willingness. People can't tell you to get clean. People can't tell you, like, when somebody tells you to get clean, it's not you actually wanting to. You're doing it because you have circumstances. Once I didn't have circumstances anymore and I made the decision for myself, that's when I actually did what I needed to do. Because I was a rebel my whole life.
Yeah.
You told me to do something, I rebelled against you.
Okay.
I did the complete opposite. I did it to my mom. I did it to everybody. Yeah. It was just my personality at that time. That's all I knew.
Yeah.
So I continued with that for so long. But I will say, I knew from almost the beginning that me and Phil could really build a great life together.
Amazing. Yeah. And you guys are now together for how long?
12 years.
12 years, and then you have a little one.
And we have another little one, Penelope. She's great.
Yeah. Amazing.
She's 4. And it's really cool because, like, for both of us, like, we know how owners, mom life, like, and we'll get into that down the road in the podcast, but we really know what it's like to be both. And I think that's why it's really great that us doing this podcast will even flourish more, because we're not just so stuck on one thing. Yeah. You know,
I think that's the biggest thing, is not get stuck on one thing, because when you stress so much on one thing, and then, it doesn't happen. Yeah. It's like nothing works out, right? You have to just release that energy. And I'm so big in energy now lately. Like, it's my next tattoo, you wanna know what I'm getting? I'm gonna get telling everybody I wanted to do it before the podcast started, but I wanted to get God and energy. Yeah. So, like, when I prayed, I see that every time. Yeah. You know, and it's just part of, like, who I am now too.
Yeah. It built you as a person.
And as a person. Yeah. And it stays with me now. It's, you know. Yeah. So I totally get that.
All right, so enough about me and my marriage. I want to know about you and Damien. You talked a little bit about how long you guys knew each other and why you got married, but how did you guys meet?
We actually met at the opening of Mean Girls.
Stop.
Yes, at the movie theater, literally across from my salon. Yep. And it was pretty funny because the day that I was going, I was with all my friends, like all girlfriends. I was wearing like this cute little skirt with like this little tank top, you know, and I'm like, I'm just gonna hang out with the girls today. There's no boy talk.
Mean girl outfit.
Blah, 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 mean girl outfit. And as soon as I'm walking into the movie theater, I see this big tall kid with like a hat and with another kid. Like, I think the kid that he had, I think Alex was maybe like 8 years old. So I like tripped, I kick his shoes, like, cause I wanted to like look at him and see, like, let me see what he looks like. So he was opening the door, I like stepped on his shoes.
Purposely?
On purpose. And then I'm like, sorry. And then he's like, it's okay. And like, you know, like a total like player mood. And then he gets his tickets, I get my tickets. The movie theater
is going to see Mean Girls.
He was taking.
I love Damien.
There's a whole background to this. So he was taking the kid that he used to babysit for. Like, so he grew up, he was a babysitter, right? And this kid was like, I think 8, 9, and he was visiting the family. And then the kid was like, take me somewhere where there's like cute girls or whatever. And he goes, oh, let's go watch Mean Girls. Like, there's
going to be a lot of girls there.
So I didn't know any of this though. So like when I stepped on his shoes, I was like, I thought that was like his kid. I thought that was like his child. Okay? Yeah. Because the kid had brown hair, like kind of like had like similar features in a way. So we get the tickets. I sit down and I'm like whatever, like me, my friend, and another friend of mine call. And she's like, oh my God, I want to come in. The tickets were sold out. So I'm like, I'll get you in. So mind you, I go to the bathroom. I give her my ticket. And then she gets in with my ticket because the guy from the front door already saw me. He knows he's not going to ask me for my ticket. So, and then I squeezed her in. So at that time, I now had to bump my chair and go sit in front of him, like next to him, because he was in front of me, okay? So I was like in the back seat, not in the back seat, in the back row. And then he sat in front of me with this kid and there was one chair left. So I'm like, I'm going to sit next to a boy because it's going to get boring with all the girls here. Yeah. So, and then I sat next to him. So within like the first 5 minutes, I'm like, this is my armrest. And then like, this is my armrest. So we start fighting over the armrest. Literally fighting over the armrest. So then he turns around, he's like, can I take you out to dinner? Like, he was like 19. And I'm like, you didn't even ask my name. Like, who does that? Who asks me
That's
to
the
go
first
out
question.
with me? And I said to him, I'm like, you don't even know my name. How are you asking me out to dinner? And he goes, well, there's no reason asking you out. There's no reason asking for your name if you're gonna say no.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I like this boy. And I was like, he's like a little hard to get.
That was a good move.
That's kind of how we met. And then like for the next like 3 weeks, he was taking me out to Chili's because I was 17, the diner Funplex. And I didn't trust him because he was 19 and he had a car. So I'm like, you gotta take out all my friends with you. Like, so we were literally going out with like 3 other girls, and he was paying for everybody because he had a big boy job at that time. And babysitting. So I said to him, I'm like, is that your kid? Like, I was like, am I dating someone with a kid? And he said, no, that's the kid I babysat for. I was like, oh, okay, all right, that makes sense.
That would have been the first question I asked. Do you have a kid at 19 years old? That's 8?
Yeah. And then he took us, like, I think 3 weeks for me to, like, kiss him for the first time. Like, I hold out. I don't know why, but I hold out. And then once I dated him for, like, that 1 month, I just knew he was going to be the one.
And is that why you held out too? Because you knew that there was something special with him?
No, at that point, I felt that I didn't know if I was attracted to him the first few weeks. And I was like, oh, I don't know. He's tall, skinny, which is like, it was my, like, what I used to like, you know, like boys kind of. But I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm into him. And then finally,
did you have a type and like, he didn't fall 100% into what you thought was your type?
Exactly.
Because that's how I was with Phil. Exactly. Like, I had a type. This was my type, or this is what I believed was my type.
Right.
So when I met Phil, I'm like, oh, this is not who I would normally date, but he's really handsome, you know?
Right.
And and then I realized that I don't actually have a type.
Right.
And then I looked back at all my exes and I'm like, I really don't have a type. Like, I thought I had a type in my head. I don't have a type.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
I feel like I was in little relationships. I dated so many different types of guys. But I sound like such a whore, but I'm not. I really wasn't. I met my husband when I was 17. So
everyone in the world has dated, started in high school. Like, this is a normal story. Like, girls always are a little more boy crazy than probably the boys are at the young age, because boys care more about their friends. Girls care more about dating. I see it with my 13-year-old son right now. I'm like, I had 5 crushes and he hasn't one. So you could tell it's more with the girls that starts first.
Definitely. Oh my gosh, definitely.
But you know, it's good to know right from the door that person is the person for you. Right. Because I feel like I never really knew that before. I just always forced myself out of comfort to be with someone. I didn't want to be by myself. At that time, I didn't have that, like, I had confidence, but I didn't have that confidence of like, I'm good by myself. I could go out to eat by myself. Like, I loved being around people. It's always been my personality, but it also could be almost like a codependency type of thing too, because it is good to be by yourself sometimes. It is.
I have to say, I just went out to eat twice. I had breakfast twice by myself.
It's so nice, isn't it?
I'm like 35, 36, 37. I'm 37. I'm 37. And funny story on the age thing.
We stopped at 35.
Yeah, we stopped at 35.
We're 35.
Actually, last year I was 36, and I told everybody I was 37. I don't know. Last year I forgot my age. Okay, so for the whole year I thought I was 37. Yeah. And a week before my birthday, I was like, "Wait, am I gonna be 38?" And then Damien's like, "No, Lou, you're 36," and I'm like, "No, I've been telling everybody I'm 37." So I'm repeating 37 again in 2024. So I'm not aging this year.
No, you're staying the same.
I'm staying at 37 this year. I don't know how it happened, but I forgot my age halfway through the year.
And also, like, think about it, like how you were then.
Oh my gosh.
The codependency,
so
this, that.
Yeah.
To how we are today.
Yeah.
How much work does that take to build
a relationship and
with yourself?
With yourself and your partner.
And your partner.
Because I preach this to a lot of my like friends and like even some of my clients. It's like when you're with someone for so long, you know, I'm never gonna be the girl he met when I was 17. I'm not gonna be the girl that I was in my early 20s. I'm like almost 40. So like sometimes he even says, like, oh, I missed the Lou when Lou was like 18. I'm like, baby, she's gone.
Yeah, this
like,
is the new
this is life. Like
with the blonde hair.
With the blonde hair. But like all kids aside, like you grow together, and I feel like relationships, like we've been together for like now almost 20 years. So it's like, if you don't grow on the same level, it doesn't have to happen at the same time, but like spiritually, career-wise, you guys have to level up in almost the same.
100%.
Because
and be on the same
otherwise,
page.
if you're really back down here and you want to grow, your relationship sinks.
Yeah.
So I feel like with my career, he supported me after I changed majors so many times. And then I was like 24 going to beauty school. And then, you know, you got to assist.
Yeah.
So when I was in beauty school.
And you don't make that much money assisting. You have to pay your dues.
And I even said to Damien, like, when I was assisting, because I had to go to school part-time at that time because I already had a son. I was already married. So I'm like, I can't go full-time. I can't graduate in 10 months.
So it takes
I'm going to have to be 18 months. And I said to him, like, if we're going to have a second kid, we have to do it while I'm like in beauty school, because once I assist, who is going to hire somebody that's not for nothing? I don't want to sound crazy, but like people look at you different when you're having a baby, when you're pregnant. It happened to me, okay? So I got pregnant in beauty school. So by the time I had my 600 hour, I was assisting. I had 2 kids. So, and I swept, I had a 6 months old, and I had Damien that was 2 years. And I'm like, I was devoted. I was like, teach me everything right now.
That motivates you more.
It motivated
to push
me more.
yourself to get to your career quicker.
Yes.
And having that hustle and that drive is so important, because a business that you work for. Yeah. Like, let's take us from being business owners right now out of it. Let's go back to when we were younger and working for a business.
Did you ever imagine owning all these salons and a tattoo shop? Like in beauty school, if you were looking at that damn book, right? Yeah. Would you ever seen yourself where you are now?
No,
like,
I just wanted to be good at hair and have a career.
Never. I just wanted to make money and love what I do. That was like my main thing. Yeah. I'm like, I don't ever want to work at a day and feel like this is work. I always wanted to feel like I love what I do, and that's why it took so long to figure it out.
I also think that everyone, and I've learned this, I've done seminars and everything, we have limiting beliefs our whole lives that hold us back from growing, that hold us back from really achieving goals that we're capable of achieving. A limiting belief is basically you telling yourself you're not good enough to accomplish something, or maybe not even thinking about owning a business or something along those lines, because you don't even think that that's subconsciously that's something that you could do. So most people don't even go for something that they're fully capable of doing because they don't believe that they could do it. Right?
I agree 100%.
As soon as my mindset shifted and I knew, and this also stems into like recovery and bettering myself and my journey from coming out of that to being like my best possible self. As soon as I believed that I was capable of whatever I put my mind to, that's when I realized that I could do whatever I put my mind to. And like you said, being able to grow with your husband. I needed my husband to grow with me and he needed me to grow with him too. And sometimes things shift. Like we're at one point in our lives with the salon and then we decide to do something else or something new comes up. And the reason why I love you so much too is because I know that you guys are the same way. You see people that you meet every day that either your goals align or they don't. And if they don't, it's okay.
It's okay.
But the people that your goals align, as soon as you meet, you know that you can hit it off.
Right.
It's
like it's such a natural feeling. Yeah. And I feel like you can have that feeling at a young age. Yeah. I'm not saying I didn't have that, but like it takes a little bit of like being out there to realize who's with you because of you. Yeah. And they're not with you because they want to take advantage of you.
Exactly.
I feel like, oh my God, I have learned so much in the last few years. I have lost so many good friends and I have like gained so many
great people.
Yeah. But also too, like the ones that were there at the darkest moments of my career or even like dark moments of like my life in general within my relationship. Yeah. While I was going through the dark moments in my career, like I could count on the finger who picked up that phone every single day and like literally helped me out, you know, the phone calls that got me through it, you know. And I feel like as you get older you have less and less of a friend, but I love the small circle.
The small circle is so much better. You took the words out of my mouth.
I never thought, I always wanted to have the most friends, all this and that growing up, and I like realized I don't need to count. like if I can count like 5 amazing friends, like I can
I'd
say
rather
it
have
right
that
there.
than a huge group of
huge
friends
group of
that
friends.
don't stand by your side. And like going back to what we were saying before with like the when we were assisting and removing ourselves from the business aspect and working for a business, we had to do whatever possible to become that successful stylist.
Yeah.
Right? And at that time you had 2 kids.
Right, I had 2
and
kids.
you had to assist, and what are assistant duties back then?
Yeah.
You couldn't be entitled.
No.
You had to pay your dues.
I used to
weren't good enough to be a stylist.
I used to get paid $40 a day. Okay? $40. I used to depend
an hour.
Depend on my tips, right?
That's
so
what minimum
at that
wage
time,
was.
I was working at a busy salon, so my tips, I would make $80 a day, $100 a day. I had 2 kids, so at that time, I was literally like, it was in Essex County, the salon that I worked, and then I was living in Sussex County. So Friday nights, I would work until 9 o'clock at night, and then the next day I had to be there at 7. So I would sleep at my mother-in-law's house in East Hanover, just so I didn't have to drive home, so I could be there at 7 o'clock to personal assist which one of my biggest mentor now, my friend Sandy, which is now one of my best friends. But she taught me how to cut hair, how to blow out hair, like how to talk to clients behind the chair. But I was personal assisting her at that time, and now she's like and if I have to call anybody, I'm calling her first, right? Because she sees it all from the beginning on, you know?
Did you ever know at that point that you would own a salon one day?
Never. Oh my God. I remember somebody asking me like on year 3 of my career, I think like 3 years, 2 years behind the chair, like actually gaining clients and like repeat clients. I remember someone asked me, I was like, so would you ever open up your salon? I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I love making commission and just going home and not having to worry about it. 6 months later, I quit my salon. And I was like, I just literally said something, and then it made me think about it. That question made me think about it. How about you? Like, when did you actually, I don't even know your hair. Like, when did you go to beauty school? And then, like,
what was my journey?
Yeah, like, how long did it take for you to get your chair? Like, I assisted for almost 1.5 years, 2 years, and then I quit because they weren't giving me my chair.
I was in a salon for 3 years and I still didn't have a chair.
Sweeping and, like, doing just assisting
shampooing,
jobs. Yeah.
Cleaning, molding with a toothbrush.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah. Like, getting sent home if my hair and makeup wasn't done every day.
Yeah.
You know, I was still walking that tightrope for a really long time. But at that time, this was back in 2007, it was normal
to have
that long period of time. No matter where you went, you had that long period.
It was minimum 2 years to assist before they even give you a chair for blowouts.
Minimum.
Yeah, agree.
I feel like we have so much information to deliver, like in the hair world too. I feel like we have so much information to deliver just to women that are business owners, because the one thing that I will say is business is the same across the board. Yeah. You could apply whatever, it's more like the feelings behind it, the numbers, everything's the same, right? Your ROIs, everything's the same. Right. It's just more of like the industries are different. Right. So just having business knowledge, I feel like we're gonna have a lot to deliver. A
lot of fun in this podcast.
Yeah,
I'm so
like coaching for free through here. Yes. This is gonna be great. Thank you everyone for coming out to our first podcast, listening, and learning a little bit about us as we learn a little bit more about each other. And we'll see you on our next podcast.